Hey guys, Wolfman Gorilla today. Love this guy. Nice mild razor. This is my first Wolfman. He was putting them out a little bit quicker than his more custom razors because he doesn't spend as much time with them. I believe at that time he brought in a helper with his machine shop. James, I believe, is the maker of Wolfman. And so I was able to get one a few years ago. 1438 from Semogue, little boar brush that's been soaking for several hours inadvertently. And indeed, you can see that this little, with a wooden handle inside, is kind of split a little bit more. I put too much water in the cup. I only intended to soak the bristles, but what happened is as the bristles softened, they splayed a little bit, and so more of the handle went down in the water. So next time I'm definitely going to reduce the water more than I did that time. The blade we're going to put into this mild razor is a Kai, often a sharp blade for me, as in sharp enough to be mentioned as more sharp than other blades. Piacenza is the sterling soap I'm using today.
0920.
And crap, we got that. We got the reminder there. Often in the mornings, I like to have that going on to remind me what time it is in case I can't see my clock or something like that. All right, but it'll go off after a while. Less than a quarter of a teaspoon is all I need from Sterling, so we're going to try out kind of this amount. And so what we do is I'm going to press that into the bottom of the soap bowl, but before I get my fingertips soapy, let's slip this razor blade into the, and this guy's got about, 9 uses it looks like, and Kai doesn't have any kind of designation writing on it or anything like that. Wish they'd put something. You know what I'm going to do? Because I'm going to marathon this guy. I have no idea. He's often really sharp. And so I am curious if he'll be a blade that can go for quite a while. And so what I'm going to do is put a little Sharpie type mark on it right now. So we'll put an M for marathon there. And that way, if you look back in past videos and you find this one, you can tell when the M appeared. Okay. All right. So here's how the Wolfman Gorilla looks all taken apart. Now he's different than so many other 3-piece razors because he's kind of like the Mamba and those where the posts are on the top of the base plate here. So you have to put the blade right there. Then you carefully put that. Hopefully you don't dislodge the blade too much. It's just more convenient that way. And now hold them together while you screw it in. This is the stock Wolfman Gorilla handle. It's a thick sucker. And then slowly screw things in until you make sure you have everything seated properly. And we're ready to go with this Kai. And as you can see, the blade exposure is not very much for this one. But a nice sharp blade and a mild razor is often a fun combination for me because I usually end up getting a close shave combined with a comfortable smooth shave. Let's see if that happens today. All right, so during the cutaway there, I splashed my face with some water to start softening my beard, and also pressed in that sample of soap. And this is just that quarter teaspoon. And I loved it when I figured out that a quarter teaspoon was all I needed for most soaps, because when you get those little sample tubs, you wonder, you don't want to waste, like if you use half of it on a lather and then you discover you had so much lather, then you can't try it out quite as much. And so I'm really happy shaking out most of the water here. I was really happy when I found out that I could use that certain amount and hoke it out, and then I get the most out of my samples. Now that Sterling sample, the Where'd he go? They're this big. And they are probably the largest samples out there. And they don't charge you more. Most people charge $3 or so for a sample. Some people actually charge more than that for just like 3 or 5 shaves worth of product. But Stirling gives you about a month of product for your sample prices. So I am a huge fan of their value, their character as a company. No relation. And haven't sent me anything for free except for the normal free samples that come with an order. So this is the 1438 little Boar brush. He is going to be in my Boarathon once I cycle him up to the 19 or 20 uses and have him catch up with the other guys. But I'm gonna keep going with the other guys as well. So it'll take him a little while to catch up. But I'll probably maybe use him every 4th shave or something like that, because we want to give him a chance to dry between uses so that we get a nice break-in, a consistent break-in, as the other brushes have had as well. So he's a small guy. He is made with extra grade hair from Semogue, and it is it's kind of lower on the line. I believe that best is a little bit lower than that one, but extra is I'd probably say maybe it's mid-grade, or according to what they have, hair. And what it does offer is a little bit more backbone, it seems, and maybe the tips aren't quite as soft, but I've just had a couple of uses and it feels pretty good on my face. So it seems like it's going to be soft enough. And since not a lot of these tips have split, I think it's going to end up even softer. And so I think I'm going to like this brush a lot. Probably move the knot into another handle, just because this is a really short handle. Might be good for traveling. Smaller knot is also good for traveling because it dries quicker. You don't want to leave that moisture in the brush bristles when you travel. You don't want to lock it up. So one thing you could do is wrap it in some toilet paper or a washcloth or something like that to act as a desiccant and suck that water out of the brush fibers. Now I think I made the note that about 3 teaspoons of water was what I used the last time I put this together. So let's just go ahead and put 3 teaspoons in, see what happens. It'll either be nice like I had that other time, or it'll be a little wetter probably, or it'll need a little bit more water. So in any of those cases, I'm happy. So I'm revisiting the Piacenza in 3 days ago, 4, something like that. I used it. I got to the end of the shave and realized I hadn't really evaluated the scent. I had talked about it because I had notes, and I remember mentioning the notes, but I don't remember the scent strength, and I think I remember telling you about what I perceived about it, but then its strength during the shave.
0930.
I didn't remember that at all. So I'm going to revisit it because it's a nice one. One of the descriptions said it was inspired by Parma, and I assume that means Acqua di Parma, a very famous shaving soap and scent line and all that stuff, I think. And it's from Stirling, obviously, and obviously it's got an Italian name, so that's kind of the genre we're headed for. Citrus, florals, rosemary, amber, and musk. Now, amber and rosemary can sometimes make me not enjoy a soap if it's too strong, but it's not the case with this one. They just provide supporting elements. So let's smell. It's almost pepper-like. The citrus, I can tell the citrus and that rosemary, maybe the amber and the musk are combining to kind of make it earthy. I think my nose is overloaded. I'm gonna have to wait a second. It's not strong. It's not coming up to my nose from that far away. I can't smell it from that far away, so that's probably why I didn't notice it before. Got through the whole shave and I didn't remember this, how the soap smelled. Let's look at the consistency and see if 3 teaspoons is going to be, actually it looks a little firm for Stirling. See, we didn't get any peaks as it dropped. Let's do a stretch. Yeah, let's add some more. See, it didn't stretch very much. Yeah, it's very mild. The florals are not playing a big part. Definitely playing just kind of a supporting role, and I'm cool with that. Even the citrus is kind of muted. It doesn't really seem like there's a dominant scent here. Now, could this puck be an old sample that Stirling sent me? You know, it sat around for a while. That's possible. But you know what? If it sat around for a while, I'm sure it was stacked with other Piacenza samples. So it should have retained, that should, you know, help it retain its scent profile. This handle definitely gets slippery if it gets soapy. And if you're a bowl lather, it's going to get soapy. So one thing you can do is take it down to the faucet and just rinse off the handle. Then go back in there. But you may find it's a futile gesture. One reason not to overload your soaps and end up with more passes of lather than you want is because it makes your brush handles messy and slick and hard to grip. Harder to grip. All right, I think we're good. I added almost a whole teaspoon to when I showed you before. Good looking lather. There we go. Longer peaks. And if we stretch it up, it probably still, see, and then we've got some stretch there. Now, it's easily supporting itself, and so I definitely could get a little, go wetter if I wanted to, that's for sure. And often I have. But I feel like with this little brush, you do a lot more arm work than you do with longer brushes that give you some reach. With the longer ones, you kind of pivot your wrist more. With the smaller ones, you have to move your arm more. All right, let's throw some water on my face. Then I'm going to take the brush. I'm not going to be surprised if I have to come back to the tub here, especially on the first pass. I have oily skin, so a lot of times that can, and I use my first pass as my face wash. So a lot of times that can use up and suck out the lather. So now we are doing the scrub operation. Now some people just do a painting motion like this. And especially if you've already pre-washed your face. You know, I don't see any problem with that, but to me, I like the feel of the scrub. And maybe that's why I don't like high backbone brushes like some people do. I'm going to add just a touch more soap to my brush. Don't need a lot. Technically, I don't really need any because this would work, but I'm going to scrub for just a minute, and so I just wanted a little bit of extra on there. So the tips feel fine. They are scrubby, but not. It does feel soft. They are not scritchy or scratchy or any of those type words. I don't feel like I'm getting overly worked on, you know. Let's sometimes the first pass, because of the skin oils and things, needs a few drops of water. Also, I'm doing the scrub thing now because I am giving time for the soap to work and match to my skin. Often I'll use the word bonding. Maybe that's kind of what's happening. It kind of feels like what happens. So time, so that the lather can kind of get and bond with your skin. You can just slap it on quickly and roll with it if you want, but you may not get as smooth of a shave as you could if you waited. I realize some guys just need to get that shave done, get out of there in like 9 minutes or something like that. So do what you got to do. Now this looks like a slippery handle, but it is brushed stainless steel. And so what actually happens is that brushing is not perfectly smooth. It's not mirror smooth. Microscopically, if you could look at it, you would see that there are little ridges because of the brushing. And those, as it turns out, the handle's very wet, but I've got a very confident feel, a confident grip on the razor. It is slightly slippery and moving around, but I'm going to guess that's actually the oils on my finger rather than the grip on the razor. As my fingers touch soap and they dry out a little bit, that oil gets removed, the grip on this razor improves and improves during the shave, because my skin was really the main problem. All right, the Kai blade. Now, some people don't take their blades to 2 or 3 uses, and this Kai is on. Oh man, this feels great. This is a good combo. Wow. Now, and it sure feels like it is mowing through the hair. I do feel a hair cutting sensation, but it's in no way a tugging feeling. Wow. This may be one of my just top combinations. And to know that it's on a Kai that is 9 uses old, it makes me feel even better, because Kais are a little more on the expensive side. But if you can use them for 9 shaves or 10, and I'm going to guess I'll be able to take this guy to more like 15 or 20, then that turns that expensive blade into something not very expensive at all. Wow, that was terrific. And another plus with this razor, and so many others like it, you see how it grips the blade and vices it down from the top so close to the edge. A lot of razor blades do that because it's kind of required. But what a lot of them don't do is also grab it so close to the edge on the bottom. Many of them back off about 5 millimeters and have something back here that supports the bottom, and it's just the top that bends it over. And that's been a design for many years, and it's successful. And I think one of the things is it makes it easier for the hairs and soap to clear away. But they dug these troughs into the base plate, and so it's not a problem. And it's my favorite kind of razor. Gives you this consistent, smooth shave while still having some nice aggressiveness to it. Aggressive in efficiency and how many hairs it takes away, but not aggression in the feel. And I love that. So this just seems like a great combo. I hope I get to the end of the shave and the hairs are gone. I don't want comfort without missing hairs, without short, close cut hairs. All right, let's rinse. So just pressing the brush down into the lather to push the lather into the bristles. As a young brush, often it doesn't hold a lot of lather. This is actually probably enough to get the job done. Yeah, it definitely is. But since I have a bunch, I'm just going to put a little bit more on the brush. And then I did a little bit of scrubbing. Now I'm going to switch to the painting. since I'm after my first pass, I don't need to do very much scrubbing, if any. Indeed, sometimes, especially if you have sensitive skin, you want to avoid that. You want to get kind of, we call it brush burn, that agitation of your tender skin. Maybe if you have used an aggressive razor, you have maybe more tender skin than usual. Cross grain now. And this shave is going to get even smoother as it goes because we've already removed so much hair. What a great combo. I was going to use a feather in it today, but the feather I use for kind of evaluating new razors, I've got a marathon feather that I've put 30 uses on or something like that. I didn't want to use it in this because then I don't know if it's the marathon nature of the blade or what. Inflate my cheeks a little bit to help with that area. All right, second, ultra comfortable shave. Really happy with this one today. Just took a look at my trouble spot after the second pass and it looks good. It has several stray hairs that maybe have some length on them, but at this point in the shave, just a second pass, I feel really happy about that. And so it seems like this is going to be not only a comfortable combination, but one that is effective as well in delivering a nice close shave. Man, I like this little brush. It's got the backbone to keep those tips on your face, but the tips are soft. It's not luxury comfortable yet. All right, here we go. Just laying down a little layer. And since I just put on the third pass and I still have plenty of soap. I'm glad I subtracted a little bit from that 1/4 teaspoon measure. And I probably could keep going a little bit more with taking some soap away from the early part. Because I definitely have more than one pass right here to be used, and so I usually like to end with just kind of one pass in the bowl as a margin. And I also have discovered that just in the process of mixing up the lather, it's easier to get to the lather that you want if you have a little bit of extra soap in there. And so if I even scientifically took out all the variables and I precisely measured water and the soap really, really precise and used the same brush and got consistency and all these things, and I even narrowed the soap amount down to exactly what I needed for 3 passes, it takes a little bit longer to polish the lather to get to that point. Whereas if you have an extra pass of lather, the extra product makes it easier and quicker to land at that goal line. And all you have to sacrifice is a pass of lather. And since I'm using 1/2 gram of sterling on average per shave, that's just a minuscule amount of soap. In terms of cost, it's virtually nothing for a nice efficient soap like sterling. So I don't mind having and prefer having a little bit extra. Cross grain again. Just don't even feel like I'm cutting anything. So I'm probably just picking up a few little strays, something like that. Man, this is a good feeling shave. Man, I don't know why I haven't used my Gorilla. You know why? Why I am using my Gorilla today? I've got an app that I wrote. I'm a programmer, and I wrote this app to track my shaves. And to be honest, the reason I wrote it was that I would have easy easy creation of my shave of the day posts, you know, with headers for like, you know, soap notes. You know, and then it would format the top part and it shows which razor I used, which blade I used, and that's really why I did it, so that I could have a list of check boxes for the razor, and I'd go through and I'd click Wolfman Gorilla, and then there'd be another grouping of check boxes that says the blade I used, and another for the soap, and another one for the aftershave, and all that. And that's really why I created the app. Well, it's grown because it just takes a little bit to add to it. And so I keep adding, obviously the list of soaps gets longer and that sort of thing. But I've added features to it and I've actually added a chart. Actually, I've added several charts, but I added one because once you've got the data, and I recently started on the normal tub size products of soap, I've tried to remember to record the weight of the soap. So now I can have this graph of how quickly I use up soap. And then I put a little math formula in there and bam, now it's instantly available with my average soap use per day. So I discovered that my sterling and my chiseled face was more like half a gram. I decided to go ahead and do a touch up in this little spot because there were just a few hairs right here that needed a little bit of trim. See if we can kind of get them. Very light touch. You can hear them. But I don't want to I can't go against the grain without a good bit of irritation. Usually. All right. That looks really good. Looks like a really clean area. A lot of times a small amount of hair will be left seen, and it's so small that you don't really see any length to it, but it gives just a general dark appearance. And I got that a lot with the Feather ASD2 that I've been using recently. And it's because it's just so mild that most blades leave this area a little darker than others. But right now with the Wolfman Kai, I don't get that dark feeling at all from this area. It looks skin color instead of hair color. So that's just tremendous. And at least for me, this combo works really well. Very cool. All right, I'm gonna do the full final rinse here. I do have hard water here, and so Sterling is just another soap that works really well with hard water, and I'm using lukewarm temperatures to rinse with. I have to bring in a little heat. It's winter right now. I have to bring in a little heat to bring it from frigid cold up to lukewarm, but I don't do the warm shave thing. One day I'll try it, see what happens. All right, so again, I have moved through this shave without being too impacted by the scent of the lather, but at least now I've remembered about it enough to smell it while it's in the bowl. I don't know that I smelled it on my face. I really don't. I don't think I did too much at all. I do smell the citrus. It's really tough to pick up. And probably the rosemary, but again, it's at such a nice low level, it doesn't trigger me at all about some kind of savory conflict, you know. And so if you like a stronger scent, this one isn't going to be for you, at least if it's at the levels where this sample is. It would be nice if it was a little stronger. It's like everybody in this scent list, the citrus, the florals, rosemary, amber, and musk. I believe I can pick everybody out. But it's as if, what do we have? We've got 5. Okay. It's as if the citrus, if this was a bar graph, the citrus is a little bit above everybody else. Here, let's make this guy. Okay, there we go. The citrus is just a little bit above everybody else, but everybody else is perceivable, and enjoyable during the scent. And it's just like, here's can't smell it. It's too much. It's all sitting, right down here. And so they're playing together nicely. A couple of these guys, the rosemary and the amber, might normally offend or make me not like the scent, but see, they're playing nicely with the other guys. And so I enjoy the scent. I wish it was a little stronger. So I don't think I'll be ordering a full puck of Piacenza. But if you're a person who likes light scents, then, maybe. But there could be variation. It could be if you get a full tub of Piacenza, then it is a strong, it probably won't be that different, but it might be a medium scent that you really enjoy perfectly. I know that a viewer recently told me in the comments that I had really enjoyed, I think it was the Port-au-Prince Mutton Tallow from Stirling. Man, what a great soap base that is. And it caught me by surprise recently because it has existed for so long and I didn't know about it. And it's a better base than their beef tallow. But it's just a different mixture. It's got a stronger base smell to it. And so I think that's one of the reasons why Stirling can't mix as many scents with that base as they can the beef tallow. And so it just hit me by surprise. And so I've really been exclaiming about the mutton tallow. And, and my Port-au-Prince was a nice medium level of scent strength. And unfortunately, a viewer online, I can't remember the name, posted that they had some as well. And it just was much lower than they preferred. And so that's unfortunate, but there is some variation there. And so it's possible you could get Piacenza at its medium strength, or maybe all of it is kind of on the low strength side. But that's good news for some people because some people are sensitive to strong smells. Some people are sensitive. And also when you have a lower smell, that means you've got less of that fragrance oil in the soap. And that also can help people with skin allergies or sensitivities toward chemicals on their skin or certain chemicals and all that. If it's a lower strength, it's got less chemicals, it's got less oils to bother people's skin. So that's one common reason why makers will make lightly scented soaps. It was a struggle for me at first until I learned that because I like the medium and stronger scented soaps. And I couldn't see why. Why would you give me a soap that's basically unscented, but it's not, So I learned that's why, All right, so we used 4 teaspoons of water during this lather, and I dare say it's pretty much a perfect lather. I'm really happy with it. I could have gone slicker, and I'm sure it would have gotten messier, flung all over the place, dripping on my shirt and all that mess. Look at that. That's glorious. That's how I like it. You can obviously pick what consistency you like. And I've got just a little bit left. So I am happy with the amount as well. Really happy with the comfort and the closeness of this cut. Let's check this area again after the touch-up. I don't think I see any length. It's really hard to find any length in any of these trouble spot hairs, and that is difficult to achieve for me. So wow, great shave all the way around, except for the scent strength. Again, it was not really all that noticeable during the shave, but shaves are about, to me at least, about a mental place where you like to take yourself. Sometimes I'll shave with a soap that smells exotic. And so I'll kind of put myself in that location. And even a low strength scent can help do that for me. There's a Russian scent, Cologne Russe, I think it's called, from Barrister and Man, that kind of does that to me. Takes me back to old time Tsar period of Russia, and this one, a little bit of an Italian nature to it for sure. And so even that light scent might still help a person to put them in that mindset. And then the low strength of it might help to maintain a more mild environment instead of something that's in your face and conflicting with you and punching at you the whole time. So it might have a place in somebody's den, that's for sure. All right, let's see what kind of post shave we have. You know what? I feel it's appropriate to use this Stubble Buster aftershave. This one's Game. And it has notes of tangerine, sequoia, and sage that are kind of the more notable pieces. And it's also fitting to use Stubble Buster after using such a mild soap, because virtually all the Stubble Buster soaps I've tried, and I think I've tried 4, have been so low strength that they were almost unscented for me. And so that was a big disappointment. Matter of fact, that may have been the first time I ordered a tub of soap and had it come with such a low strength that it surprised me. And I was so disappointed that I had bought an unscented soap, basically. And then I learned that it was to be mild because they're lower cost. If you're a beginner, Stubble Buster might be something to look into. They have copied or used as inspiration a lot of classic fragrance scents, but they put it at low strength. And so if you've got skin sensitivity issues, they shouldn't bother you. However, the performance, the lathers are terrific. Very nice performer from Stubble Buster. They're made by the same people who do Grumatorium, and they do Tiki Bar soaps, Tiki Bar soaps, as well as Chiseled Face, and then they also do the Stubble Buster. However, the aftershaves from Stubble Buster have some nice strength to them. They also have, I think, some acetylsalicylic acid. What's that? Aspirin, and that helps to. It got a little bit of menthol. And they do have witch hazel, some other aloe, and some other skin goodies to help your skin out. But the scent is not unscented on these aftershaves for them, and so I may not be a big fan of the soaps, but these aftershaves are pretty nice. I wish they didn't have the menthol, because I don't like the menthol. Oh, and see, the shave went so well, I have almost no sting. This is an alcohol splash, and that's a sharp blade. 0 sting. My technique was on point. The Stirling Lather protected my skin. So terrific. Game. And also picked it because we've got the tangerine kind of relating to the citrus from the Piacenza, and then the sage maybe relating a little bit to the rosemary. So why not give it a shot? See how I like smelling like this throughout the day. All right, well, I'm going to clean up. I already told you 4 teaspoons of water. I had probably 1.5 passes, probably 2 after the shave was done. So I had a little bit extra lather there. And wow, great shave. Now, if you're a face latherer and you think that I've been describing this brush in a way that appeals to you, the 620 from Stirling has the same grade of hair with a handle. I believe that's that plastic or lucite or whatever material. And so in terms of lasting just a long time, that may be the way to go. And it's definitely a revered brush that's mentioned a good bit in shaving forums and things like that as being a nice brush to use and that people like. And I can see why. I can definitely see why people like it. Has the wood underneath here cracked itself? Probably not. It's probably just swollen a little bit because I got the water up past the bristles. And so the paint, though, had to crack because of the expansion. And so I learned my lesson. Has this turned this brush into something that's going to die in a few months? I firmly believe it has not. I believe it'll give me years of good service, and I'll just try to remember not to soak it too deep next time. But this is how he looks after the shave. And as you can see, more and more of these little guys are opening up as we use it, coming out to the side. And so that'll spread it out to be able to hold more soap. Won't have to go back to the tub as much. And I think he's going to end up to be a really nice little brush. So I feel like he is destined to be rehomed in another handle that's a little easier for me to grip when I'm bowl lathering. So that's the end of the shave. Really happy with it on my account. Yeah, it's a nice citrus in that game scent from Stubble Buster. And the menthol is not super strong. I'm really happy about that. I do feel it coming up kind of in my eyes and stuff, but it's barely just a hint. It's not bothering me at all. So if you like less menthol in your post-shave product, this may be a good one for you. Let's do a razor tour now of the Wolfman Gorilla. Don't know that I've done one of those yet. So here we go. Fat handle, probably 15 millimeters. Brushed stainless steel. It is a hollow tube. It's got this as a stopper here that comes in and connects there, and then this part up here is similar. It gets pressed in. Brushed stainless steel. You might even be able to hear. So you hear that scratching sound? That's those micro ridges that help the razor to be gripped really well. And then here's the head. See those grooves underneath for you're not going to get any clogging with this razor. Very slim head design. Great for folks who need to get under their nose. The bottom is slightly concave. It's a thick handle. Originally I replaced the handle and used other ones, but I've started to come back to it a little bit. I think I like it. Thicker handles don't pivot as much when you turn them with your fingers, and so they're less nimble. But it feels like I'm honoring the spirit of the Gorilla. Indeed, there's a lot of disappointment that came out with this razor because people love Wolfmans, and so a lot of people would buy them up. But a lot of people who like Wolfmans also like aggressive razors. That's not what this guy was meant to be, and so there's the disappointment. So here's the base plate. Just the finishing on this razor is just tremendous. Crisp and clean without being sharp. It's a great piece of workmanship, that's for sure. So to keep that head thin, looking all contemporary and stuff, he had to make these shallow posts. Now, because this was a razor that is not at the price point of his normal work, then you did get some machine marks on these in this area here on the base plate. And who cares, right? Because you're not looking at them. Just a wonderful, back up a little bit, maybe the focus is better. And it is, and I think this razor may have been one of the first that where people dealt with these posts here, and because they're so shallow, I think some people didn't like fiddling with the blade and trying to make sure that the blade stayed put while they put on the top cap and all that. So that was a source of bother for some gripers on the net, but come on, it's easy to, you get used to it and it works fine. Here's the top cap and the underside of it. It's got room for those posts. And then right here, this bevel, that's where it holds the blade. So that's why you get that nice, consistent feel. And everything fits together with just ultimate precision. So a lot of disappointed people were very public about this razor, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if James, the maker, is like, fine, I'm just going to quit making them. I think the problem was, I don't think it was released with enough information about what kind of shave it provided. And so people expect, were hoping that it would be something like one of the WR1 Wolfmans that were out at the time that were more aggressive in general. And so that's why they were disappointed. I think if it would have been made public that this is a mild razor, then nobody would have as much to complain about. And so it would have been accepted a little bit more. I think there was an open comb version as well. I think I remember seeing pictures of that. But this is a terrific piece. Really glad that somebody, at the time when they were available to be purchased on the website with no waiting list or anything like that, a friend posted, answered a question I had and said, that's probably one to pick up. And I followed his advice, and I'm so glad I did, because it's a terrific shaver. I could easily use this every day with great amounts of enjoyment. So, yes, Piacenza, too low strength really for me to enjoy too much during the shave. Very lightly scented soap. And in a way, I passed through this shave without noticing it too much again. But I think I'm good. I think we'll go with that. I'll keep it around for a little while. I may feel drawn to it again. Who knows? Probably not. All right. There we go. I hope there was something here that you enjoyed during today's shave. And thanks so much for watching. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Have a good day.